The AI engineer scam tech CEOs don't want you to know about. Okay, let's listen. What's this? Hello, I'm Chris Thanis. I'm a KMP developer. Tech support said they're coming out Tuesday to close that thing out. Yeah, all right. Let's see. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt. All right, today I'm gonna react to this video, which I'm gonna get through it because this guy's accent is very thick, but he definitely I listened to it just a minute or two of it, and it seemed pretty interesting. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. And it's just all about this AI engineer stuff, like this Zuckerberg man. Okay, so is he trying to pump the stock, or I'm not sure what his end game is, but he's just got a very odd look. His eyes are very strange. Probably in 2025 we'll have an AI like a mid-level engineer in your company who can write code. Okay, sir. Now, is writing code the thing that you need, or are you saying there's going to be an AI available that's going to know my entire business, all the tacit knowledge that we all have about my market, my customer, my solution, my source code, and all the interchanges that have happened to make it this thing the way it is? All the businesses, all the things that went unspoken, all the meetings that were not documented, all that stuff. You're just saying there's going to be a mid equivalent whatever mid-level engineer. What does a mid-level engineer? What does that even mean? What does that mean, sir? Can you define your terms? What is mid-level? What is an engineer? Like someone that can translate all that business information into applications. This stuff is specious. So the fact that they're so nebulous and they're so what is the word? They're very sure of these decisions, of these opinions, with very little evidence to go from what we've seen so far, which is pretty impressive. Now, let's not get me wrong, it's kind of unexpected, to what you're saying a person is doing with all this 10,000 times, 100,000 times more information that's even available to document. Like, this is okay. It's and then these guys like Rogan, which I know he's a friend of mine, or at least I did know him. Now he's big famous. When I knew him, he wasn't as big as famous when I worked on the movie American Drug War with him. Anyway, he never gives them pushback on this stuff. It's like logical stuff, man. I guess people just get enamored with the technology, and they get enamored with the people and the money and the fame, and or maybe too much weed. Let's keep going here.
So this is Mark Zuckerberg, who says that probably will have an AI, like a mid-level engineer in your company who can write code. He mentioned that some other companies are working on it. But it's not only that, right? You have Mark Benioff from Salesforce saying that they're not adding
This
any more
guy.
software engineers in the next year, 2025, because
Yeah. So these are the guys here that they may actually be in trouble because, like these Salesforce things, it's just a big to CRM, right? I mean, we're talking about CRM, and they try and dominate and be the master CRMs of all CRMs. But if somebody can make a CRM that's specific for a particular niche or a particular business type or business cycle or a different customer type, yeah, you might be in trouble, Mark Benioff of Salesforce. Your CRM may not hold up to 10,000 of them niching down into your market space and taking your customers away because you've also laid off a bunch of your engineers who now have the capability and tools to do this thing I just talked about. Let's keep
they
going.
have increased the productivity by more than 30% using AI. Actually, I think they have about 200 openings for software engineers, but still, that's what they say. Which is why today we will talk about the big tech lie, the AI-driven engineers. Together with Bogdan, we will do a first principle analysis of AI-driven software development. We will look at the data and we will use the scientific method to really understand what's happening, because I think there's a lot of confusion right now and a lot of talented engineers are questioning their career choices when they actually should not. And you will see later on why. And the fact is, just like in the Batman movie, that you always fear what you don't understand. So let's understand this. Let's really dive deep and understand what is happening right now in the software development.
Yeah, a lot of this is theatrics, right? So a lot of what I've noticed over the years is these companies will initially push the sci-fi movie version of what's ever going on for the imagination, for people to click in, and they'll get them to buy into something, or it's stock or some product or something, and people will get it in their hands, and only after they get it in their hands will they realize, oh, it's not the thing that they said it was going to be. I feel like I've been ripped off here, gypped off here. Or it's the bleeding edge people who are just like the latest thing. But like when the mid hump gets it, they're like, "This isn't what they said it was going to be," over and over and over. Like Lucy with that with Charlie Brown with the football, over and over and over again until they hype it up, pump it up, make it so it's going to be the most. And it turns out to us to be irregular. Like, here's no screwdriver for your set of tools.
The market and in AI-driven development. And here's what we are going to cover. Number one, we will do a first principle analysis of the existing AI tooling. Then we're going to look at the myth of AI-driven layoffs, and we're going to find out what's actually behind the layoffs, the tech layoffs happening. Why AI?
See if he matches my opinion, which is the ZERP failing. And the only reason half these companies existed because we had free money that they could potentially get some yield from, where they couldn't get yield anywhere else from they couldn't get it from the government from buying it just a bond. So they had to put their money someplace to make some yield to make up for the inflation. Let's keep going.
Coders and not less, also called the Jevons paradox in economics. Next, we will look at the GPT-4 hangover and what happened upon its release. And finally, we'll talk about what can you do as a software engineer. You're probably thinking, do I even have a future? Is it even worth it? Just like our students. And
if you're a problem solvers always have a future, whatever the tooling is going to be. Now, whether you're going to work at one of these big FANG companies or whether these big companies are going to exist how they are, that is open for an open question. But our problem, people that can solve problems with software, their jobs are going to go away. I don't know if that's even. I mean, do you think that's all we do is like translate tickets? Because if that's all we think we do, these MBA types, they think here's a Jira board, get some engineers that know how this whatever platform we decided on, and just throw tickets at them. If that's what you think the job is, well, maybe like, yeah, but if you think that's what's going on, it's like, no, we're trying to solve problems for customers. Like, that's what we do. That's where the engineering, the problem solving part of it, and we take all this tacit knowledge, all this stuff that's unsaid and or said, off the cuff, or not in an official meeting capacity, or just being in a marketplace that other people are working in this at the same time and being interested in it. That's how do you.
We are here to give you the tools and to show you how you can make the most out of this. If you don't know us, my name is Dragos, and together with my brother Bob, we founded the Senior Dev about 4 years ago, where we help JavaScript-focused engineers level up to a senior level in the most effective way possible. So let's talk about AI tooling, and let's make a first principle analysis to what this AI tooling actually is based upon, and what does it really mean for the software engineer. First of all, it's not about AI. What we are talking about is actually an LLM, a large language model, which is behind a chip.
Right, it's not this AI. It's like the sci-fi movies have been pushed to since forever. The machine will take over and do our bidding for us. We don't have to even think anymore. We can just sit back and robot, give me all the money. That's been the dream, because we're human beings. We're like limited in time, and we get hungry, we get tired, and we get bored. And we want some machine to take over that stuff. That's always been the dream, right? But these marketers, they know that, right? So they also are salespeople, right? So what is big thing in sales? Meeting objections. So what do you do in sales? You go through customers, and the customers will start giving you the objections, and you either give somehow meet their objections or turn their objections around, right? Or you find a product or service that meets all their objections, and then they all of a sudden, wow, look, all the objections are met. Wow. And the customers buy. Wow. Not that the things actually do what they say. That's third or fourth down the line. Getting the sale and getting people in the door, that's first. Let's keep
interface or a code editor. And what does that mean for software engineers?
So what it means is that at the core of the AI, as they call it, there's just a large language model, which is built on a neural network with a lot of parameters that was fed a lot of code. In the case of GPT-3 and 4, the code comes from GitHub, like all the open source code we have basically in the world, and then Stack Overflow. And so you feed all that to a neural network, and then you have this capability of linguistically suggest code or solutions. And because it's built at such a scale, it really feels that it can build things like a small React application by itself. And so a lot of people think that's intelligence, right? That it's basically intelligent because of the quality of code sample it gives back. What OpenAI did very well, and what new companies are doing, is to rebrand what a large language model is, which is not very salesy and very flashy, into AI, AGI, and what's the latest one?
Yeah, they gotta pump the stock. Yeah, they gotta hype it up. Yeah, but it's just a more fancy autocomplete. Honestly, this was gonna happen at some point, because going through the mental abuse and emotional abuse of going to Stack Overflow and asking a question. Oh man, I'm surprised that was allowed to go on and be as abusive as it was for as long as it was, and total clusterfuck. Like everything's just lumped in everywhere. Like the old versions, like which version are you talking about? No, this is version 23. You ask a duplicate question. That was number 65 of the rule book. I've got more stars than you, so I've got bigger, better opinions. Even though it doesn't even what those numbers mean is all specious as hell. So let's keep going.
Super artificial SAI, super artificial intelligence, and they just keep pushing that into.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna say that like all that Stack Overflow questioning thing was gonna be, it was open for disruption somewhere somehow, and having a code guesser, next word code generator based on all that stuff, I think that was inevitably gonna happen. No, we didn't think it was gonna happen so well and so easily, so quickly, but it is a great use of LLMs and machine language to machine learning to go ahead and statistically scrape all that stuff and give out the solutions. Yeah, that's pretty legit. Now, is it going to take people's jobs? Come on now. I mean, it's going to enhance people's jobs, but taking people's jobs, I mean, someone has to generate that stuff for fit for purpose for the the customer and your solution and the profit.
Basically everywhere.
And we will see why they do that later. Of course, the whole business is based on it. But the thing with LLMs is that LLMs are not limited by the data they ingest, which is they can be limited by that. And that's what they want to make you believe, but by design, right? Because we have all these people that say, oh yeah, ChatGPT can only help you and it makes tons of mistakes, but it will get better, right? There is this fundamental belief that they will get better and better because it's technology, it will improve. And at some point, developers will be out of work.
Yeah, I think everybody's assuming that the models will exponentially get better, but
right. So we've already seen that it hasn't. It's already hit the part of the S curve. So they're getting 1% better, 0.6% better. They have all these KPIs, all these numbers and graphs and charts, which are like, what is all this stuff? Like, what does this actually mean day to day? And the thing is, it's been a couple of years since they've been making these claims. And the thing is, if they had anything close to this technology already available, which, like, they say there's this mid-level engineer, we would see massively leveling up these applications. The operating system would change rapidly within just a few weeks. We'd see a lot of businesses go out of business. I'm already going over this in other videos. And we'd all of a sudden get an email. Our email system would update, and we'd get a big flashing red thing on one of the things. It's like, that's never done that before. And then we click on that thing, and it comes up with an email saying, yeah, you're no longer, you need to come to the office anymore. Don't worry, we'll still pay you. We're going to double your salary. So we're not seeing that. So we're seeing this. Oh no, any day now, any second now, we're going to be able to do every mid-level engineer any moment, even though they've had no demonstration of it. It's like, you would think you would demonstrate even like 1% of that. And all they have is this, no, it's an LLM code generator. It's Devin. It's going to do all of it. It's going to $200 a month, and we're going to have a mid-level engineer. It's like, no, you're not. Stop saying that. You have to demonstrate that stuff now. Everyone has to demonstrate everything.
Plateau because of the design of how is it made. And what we've seen in the last couple of months with GPT is that there was very little innovation on how the LLM works and a lot on the UI. It can now consume text and images, but again, it does all that because images are literally text. And then we have these video generators that try to do the same. But the design itself of how it's been built, it didn't change at all. And what we are actually seeing behind all these marketing schemes, it's the same LLM with marginal improvement.
It's like, again, putting more data. Actually, there's a mistake there, but it's like putting kerosene into a gasoline engine. Better fuel, better data does not mean better performance. Right? You can put whatever fuel in the end, the design of the engine will become the boundary condition, right? The limiting factor there. The second point is English is not a programming language, right? It's a human language. So people claim English became now the programming language of the world. But the truth is humans can deal with English because they share a non-linguistic understanding.
Correct. All the tacit stuff that's way bigger than any damn LLM. If it's hundreds of trillions of nodes of information that's constantly changing and evolving, but in between each person.
Of the world, not because English is a great programming language.
Exactly.
No, it's not at all. English is terrible. It's not even. It's so inspecific, vague. It's all based on context, mutual understanding, culture. I mean, like who's on top, who's on bottom, like all that stuff. Like, come on.
And this is where I believe a lot of the tech influencers are wrong. A lot of people have come out and said, well, AI is already better than a mid-level engineer, or you can use AI as a junior engineer.
I mean, the code it generates might be. Yeah, but where'd that stuff come from? Oh, humans, damn it.
I hear that one a lot, like, hey, AI is a little junior engineer. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the total opposite. Because the things that AI does really well, or the things AI knows, or the things you can retrieve with this large language model, which would be more correct language, right? You can retrieve code samples and manipulate them. They are the total opposite of what a junior engineer can do. Juniors engineer and mid-level engineers usually have a very good understanding of the world, of intention, of where the team, what the team
wants.
Right,
they know what they want, but they just don't know how to get there. And the way that LLMs are set up right now, all these coding models is you got to know what you want. You have to have an idea of how to get there, and then what it's going to look like when you're there. You can't get that just by prompting.
And they sometimes have trouble understanding the lower level APIs, the browser, how JavaScript really works. So I believe that both mid-level and junior engineers have huge complementary skills, but they are exactly on opposites when it comes to replacing each other.
Basically, as he says, the worst junior dev, it's much better than the best AI tool. Junior devs can actually solve problems. And Bogdan, you had this quote from Jan LeCun, which is LLM errors are not fixable without a major.
Yeah. This guy's right. So the issues that we're encountering with the hallucinations and all that stuff, they're gonna get a little bit better, but like they're gonna have to have a massive change of how these things are generated and how they're structured internally to fix that stuff. Which we have no sign of. Even though they say we got these mid-level programmer engineers from the AI that they say there's no change in this stuff. So it's like, okay, whatever. You guys just are marketing. Okay.
Features redesign.
Again,
whatever we take us to AGI or the next step in this technology curve, it's not the current technology that we're being.
And then when they say AGI is like, oh yeah, AGI just means when you put $200 billion into the open AI, then we have achieved AGI. It's like, guys, you can't do that. You guys got to stop yelling wolf. We're gonna stop coming to your rescue. They keep telling all these things we're gonna be here. It's been a couple years, man. Where's all the stuff? Where's all these massive claims of all the things? I know you love marketing. You love advertising. You love stock in the pump in the stock. But eventually people are like, I don't think you guys are telling the truth. I think you actually just are hoping you can get there by the time Q4 comes around.
And the point of this first point is, don't freak out. These things, they might seem very intelligent, right? Because they have a lot of tweaks and things behind. But
they do things that humans aren't that great at. Just like the chess, just like Go, just like the Jeopardy. Like it does stuff that we suck at. Retrieving all kinds of minutia, trivia, and then confirming it, and all that stuff sucks, man. It takes forever for us to do that stuff because of the way it's formatted. Like if it was easy to find and easy to look up and punch it in, it would show up. But not how it is now. It's like you have to hunt through all kinds of misinformation, disinformation. Like even Wikipedia, it's like run by an intelligence agency now. It's like, what the hell, man?
But they are not. The only intelligence we know so far, it's human intelligence. And if you want to dive deep into this topic, this is one of the slides from Jan talking about how...
Oh, look at this. Autoregressive LLMs are doomed. Yeah, they cannot be made factual, non-toxic. They are not controllable. Exactly. The tree of correct answers. The tree of all token. Yeah, exactly. Probably the correct answers. Okay, I don't know what that means. Probably the length range is correct. I don't know. It says it diverges. This diverges exponentially. It's not fixable. Yeah, I agree. I don't know all this stuff here, but I know that the way the stuff is generated is they're not going to fix the problems. They can put some limiting factors on them, but without like major compute power, where they're going to have to go verify what you said is true, please. Comes back 16 hours later. Maybe I was wrong.
The regressive LLMs, the current technology, it's doomed because they are not controllable. And the probability that they produce a token that's outside of the set of correct answers is very high, and it diverges exponentially and is not fixable without a major redesign. The technology is not there, despite what Mark Zuckerberg or Sam Altman.
It's impressive, but it's not
exactly.
The thing.
Remember that LLMs are all about predicting the next token. That's how they were designed. And there's been a huge rebranding on, hey, this is artificial intelligence. But it's really just predicting the next text token. So you can imagine if you ingest, and I think they did it over the whole Wikipedia, the Wall Street Journal. They ingested pretty much every text database you had, and they're very good at predicting the next token. That's it. So the whole AI discussion, it's not about AI. It's about autoregressive LLMs, which are, a neural network that can predict the next token digesting text.
On to the second part, which is the myth of AI-driven layoffs.
Stochastic next word guesser.
I chose this picture from the movie Margin Call because
stochastically statistical next word guesser.
Because in the end, who's pulling the strings up there? It's a bunch of MBAs. They might be great at financial things, but they're
Harvard boys. They know how to pump stock, man. They know how Well, they're in sales, right? So they've been listening to the objections of the people, and they created something that will meet the objections. They nailed it out of the park with this one. They'll just call it AI and put a lot of shows on Netflix about AI.
They're not that good at technology. So you see companies claiming that the tech layoffs that we've seen were driven by an increase of productivity due to AI, right?
Wow. Well, there's a couple things, but that was one of the cover screens that they blamed it on. Oh, it's not us. It's not the middleman who's just too bloated, and we've shipped off all of our stuff, and people aren't having families anymore, and people can't survive and working 8 hours a week, and this is now expected as a normal thing, and all the culture has been atomized, and people are totally confused about what it even means to be alive. No, it's not that stuff.
CEO of Salesforce saying that. And actually, the reality, it's the opposite. They were not driven by any kind of improvement, technological improvement. They were driven by overhiring in the past.
They really overhired because they got a bunch of people cheap because they thought the zero interest rate is going to go on forever. It'll be 0% forever. And these guys all got loans based on that model, right? And then all of a sudden, when it goes up 1%, they go, oh my God, the Japan carry trade is gone. Well, I can't grift to make a free money company.
Most tech companies overhired. They thought, hey, COVID means everybody's is going to be remote. They're spending more time on the platform. But then, COVID went away, and they hired all these people to have resources to deal with that. But when restrictions were removed,
these are these MBA. They've got all the business cycle completely figured out. They just overhire. It's like, oh shit, the interest rate went up. Oh, we didn't see that coming. Just fire everybody. Blame something. We'll blame the computer.
People went out to their normal life. Then you had huge product fails. And the metaverse, for example, in the case of Meta, was one of them. These companies, they have to always say,
it won't be us. We went to Harvard. Look, we got MBAs. Blame the AI.
The next big thing, that's the game to raise money. A lot of times in the last years, those products, they don't meet the expectations of investors. To do, you have to get rid of people. The third part is
lack of innovation. Well, where do you think these people come from? They came from the hype, man. There's not this pool of people just waiting around, waiting for them to be hired, just got innovating things, just waiting around. It's like these Harvard MBAs well, there must be a pool of innovators somewhere. All we need to do is hype this thing up and get them into the house. They will make profit.
Lack of innovation, right? Which is beyond acquisitions and monopolies. The tech sector, like the traditional tech companies, including Alphabet and Meta, they don't have a lot to show. Right? If you look at the most successful products, they were all built maybe half a decade or a decade ago. 2020.
Yeah, they acquired everything. And there are clever people get kicked out of these companies and go off and go, okay, this is what they want because they've been inside these companies. This is what they need. This is what they're trying to do. They create a company, get it acquired. It's okay, I'm done with you guys. You guys are foolish. I'm done. I'm out. And then they say, you got to stay in the box and do the only thing we say after you get acquired. It's I don't think that's nice. That's not a thing I do. So I'm going to go off and do something else. Ken Thompson is goes back and does an electric piano networking thing. It's well, what are you doing? It's I just like my old player piano to be played like it was a Wurlitzer. Okay, Ken, I get it though, man. He's just nah, I'll just do my own thing, man. I'm good on all that stuff.
25, this is just a perception game that MBAs and the people at the top are using to keep the programming class, which is developers, software engineers, from asking for more money. And I will show you why. Right. Because the reality is, the stock market, we have the NASDAQ here, we have the S&P. These companies are doing very well. They talk about layoffs, they talk about efficiency, but they are making more money.
Yeah, they figured they could get rid of the engineers and they could keep their jobs and keep the AI do it, and they keep the money, and that's what they're trying to do because they don't have a plan. They don't know what to do. They were hoping that the engineers that they hired would all be these innovators and not hacks. They were just going through a boot camp. They thought this crazy economy is nuts. These MBAs are oh, there's just a bunch of innovators out there. It's there's some, but not number that you need. Where do you think these people would come from? It's oh no, we just lay off people when things get shitty. It's oh, we'll just get them back again when everything's fine. It's they don't care. They haven't noticed this pattern that we have.
Average. Check the stock price of Alphabet, check the stock price of Meta, and you will see they're doing pretty fine. They have the cash. But what's happening with all that cash? And people talk a lot about inflation, right? But if you look at the data from 2023, right, corporate profits drove more than half of inflation, right? What does that mean? In the last 40 years prior to the pandemic, profits, right, the money that...
Right, because of all the money printing there, because they printed 50% of the currency in 2 years. It's okay, well... What do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
Corporate's pocket with just 11% of the price growth, right? And we saw an increase in the price for consumers by 3.4% in the last year. But the input cost, right, the cost for companies to generate those products has risen by just 1%, which means that for many commodities, and actually for many commodities and services, producer prices actually decreased. So corporations have kept those money and they are not passing those savings to the consumers.
Yeah,
and if you look at the corporate profits as a share of national income,
that's what they're supposed to do. That's their whole thing. So we can't get mad at them when they do it. Maximizing profits for their stock, for the shareholders, and bonuses for them. I mean, you can't blame them. Come on, it's America.
They skyrocketed by 30%, right, from the start of the pandemic. The economy is back or surpassed this pre-pandemic level, but workers...
This whole atomized economy in America, this pseudo-capitalist stuff. Oh yeah, you better get yours, otherwise you're gonna get run over. This is America now. It wasn't always like this, but it's definitely is what it's become. So ride or die.
Share of the corporate income has still not yet recovered. Why? Because it's very easy as a company to raise your prices. You can do that tomorrow, right? You can just update and raise your prices. But for employees to also update their salaries,
right? They gotta go do another negotiation round, which means usually quitting and hiring someplace else because the company you're at's like, we give you 2%, that's it. What are you gonna do about it? I guess I go to another company. Yeah, really? Try it.
They have to go to a negotiation.
Good luck. Hope you don't get caught in a downturn.
And they have to go through a review process. And software engineers are part of that. These people are bluffing. These companies, they have a lot of money. And they just want you to believe that you are replaceable. They want you to believe that somehow the magic of AI will mean that it will replace you. When actually, they need you more than ever. They just don't want to pay you more. And
all these companies with this legacy code, this technical debt and all this stuff, they're all open targets, right? And I think that's the thing that they really actually do know, is that the bloat that they have is not going to be taken and profitably managed, and that they're just on borrowed time because there's going to be innovators, which are those people they laid off, are going to compete directly with them in some way, some shape or form. But we'll see how this thing plays out. It's always quite interesting how they are super abusive. They're like, no, we're a family. It's like, you're laid off in 2 seconds when the profits dip for a penny, and they're like, you're out of here.
Sad reality. On to the third point, why AI actually means more coders. This is a very well-known phenomena in economy called the Jevons paradox. And why do we have the picture of coal factories here? Is because people thought, when coal will decrease price, it will not be used that much. But in fact, it's just more and more companies started using coal.
Well, okay, energy inputs, okay.
So why does AI means actually more coders? Well, an increase in developer productivity, it means that building software gets cheaper. So people will build more software.
Yeah, it's true. That's what I'm saying, is when we niche down. We got to stop trying to go back to these companies and these corporations like it was structured from the 80s. I think that time is over. Yeah, the niching down and finding your own customers and dealing with all that crazy stuff you have to deal with. That's the gating factors. Like, how much do you want to deal with sales and operations and all that stuff, tech support? How much do you want to deal with that stuff? You want to do a little bit of it, and you need to have your own freedom of world and don't have to be dealing with these jackasses. You want zero. You want, I can't do any of it. I'm going to leave the sales with somebody else. Well, then you're going to have to go deal with these dickhead corporations doing these layoff cycles. And no, we got a good one. No, we don't have a bad eye. We know the good AI. We got the bad eye. We're gonna get it. It's like, okay, you might have to deal with it. I mean, I had to for a while, but you definitely want to try and avoid it if you can, or if you can use these tools to avoid it. It definitely is a better choice for some people, like me and you, probably.
Build custom solutions or ramp up projects that were on the shelf. Like, basically, a lot of companies were not migrating legacy code. A lot of companies were not building certain things that they knew they had to build because
that's the legacy code is like just open for direct competition because they're stuck.
Like, oh yeah, but we need to hire more devs and it's gonna take a lot and we don't have the budget. And again, even if coders will get faster, the main challenge for those tech companies that you saw, it's not how fast your developers can code. Definitely, if they can code faster, that's awesome. But are you building the right thing?
Yeah, this is the question these managers don't answer, because they come in, right? The MBA comes in, it's like the widget. They come into a widget factory and they improve the factory output. They fire all the fat people and all the fat, get rid of some management layers, cut down on employee snacks, stuff like that, and they'll improve the profitability of the factory. But they're not gonna figure out what new widget needs to be made. We'll hire a designer for that. Oh yeah, well you might be getting away with that for a little while, but eventually we're gonna go like. They're going to see the quality coming out. It's like, what the hell is this? What happened to the Johnson Motor Company? It's like, these motors, I'm sure they're a little cheaper, but they don't work. They fall apart in 3 days.
And most of them, as you will see later, fail on exactly this thing.
This motor doesn't even work. It says it on the package. It's going to run and motorize this thing, but it doesn't even do that. It's like that kind of stuff. The MBAs don't understand that stuff. It's like, well, it's every company is just a widget factory. It's like, no, the knowledge working stuff, software especially, you're finding a new solution for a customer. Identify a customer, figure a new solution that's better than the thing they're doing already, and provide it to them cheaper than what they're already doing it. Cheaper, faster, more fun, better somehow, more scalable, whatever reason that you're better. That's what we're doing.
Fail on building the right thing, not churning more code. And big tech, what big tech is hiding, it's product failures behind this AI.
Yeah. Blame the AI. Let's blame the computer, not your bad plans, not your. Let's blame the engineers, not your shitty. Like, well, let's put this in there, bells and whistles. This is for the ding dong ding. It's like, did your customers ask for that? Well, did you see what your customers asked for? No, we just thought it'd be a great idea to put this thing over here. It's like, what about the things your customers say? And those customers are still saying it. Just because you're not providing the value doesn't mean that they might start looking for someone else. Those are called early adopters, and those are the customers that you just fired all your engineers are gonna go scoop up, ding dong.
And going back to Mike, who said, hey, we saw an increase of productivity of 30%. Engineering is doing very well. We don't need software engineers. But if we look a bit further and we look at how his company is actually doing, we see that Salesforce has a product problem. Right? They need engineers. People don't like the product, and they are saying, hey, we're not going to hire more engineers. We will hire salespeople.
So so here it is. Oh, look at this. Here's a lead. Here's a lead. Hey, you want to do a CRM for this guy? I bet you he'll try out your CRM. I bet you they'll try it.
To do what? To push a expensive product that feels like technical debt down the customer's throat? No. What Salesforce actually needs, it's engineering talent to simplify the product itself.
Okay? They can't do that. They don't know how to do that. They don't like that. You need to take features away? Are you insane? The Johnson contract needs those features.
It's so clunky and frustrating. I can't even begin to express how non-intuitive it is. They have UI issues. Right? This is a screenshot from, this was July 1st.
Yeah, they got UI issues. How are you going to get the AI to fix that? Which features do you take out and include the Johnson contract? Oh, don't forget the Williams contract. He needs that special button over there at all times. In all ways, in all versions. Remember, you got surface level agreement about that. Is the AI going to pick up? Is the AI going to pick up on that? Is that what we're going to do?
But a designer or product testing thing or something. We tried it out, got stuck, we're done for a year because of contract, and have since moved on to a different CRM. Yeah, Mike, you don't have
look, lost the customer. Boom, out the door.
AI problem. You have an engineering problem, and you can solve that with more software. Okay? And it's the same for Amazon. It's the same for Meta. It's the same for Google itself. These products are not, delivering, and the solution will not be AI. The solution will be, as it was in the past, good product and great coders and great engineers that will actually simplify those products and get them back.
Problem solvers. Who cares about product engineers? What is all that stuff? People who see this have a solution and can leverage their knowledge and apply it to those customers and get them involved somehow, and somehow make it that profitable enough where you can somehow spin it up so you can have your 1,000 or 10,000 customers at $100 a month or $10 a month or whatever.
To be competitive in the market.
Support your efforts. So you have to go work at these corporate environments, these dickheads that don't care about this. Do you think that Google Ads gives a shit what the ratings are? They don't care.
Because they have a monopoly. That's for another video. On to point number 4, the GPT-4 hangover.
Yeah, so literally when GPT-4 came out, you already had the whole YouTube and internet saying, okay, it's over, AJ is here. Not only developers would be out of a job, but
the internet was saying that? Or were they just responding to the hype?
To marketers, product people, copywriters, and so on. It's been 8 months, and as far as I know, there are none of the stuff we write, the senior dev, it's using AI. We tried to use AI several times.
2 weeks ago. Where is it? Should be done by now. They should have came out with the AGI, shut this guy up, shut me up, put us out of work permanently, and get us hooked up to the food pipe, because all the companies are going to be taken over. Because if you have AGI, all the companies get taken over within a few weeks. All companies are now Amazon. What?
step forward to step backwards kind of thing, where you had to just start from scratch. Because again, many times what happens with these large language models is that they'll just give you like faster horses, but you need to think about the car. You need to stop, and you need to really think about the customer problem, and they're pretty bad. They actually slow you down when you do that. We've seen GPT already ingested most of the stuff it could. The only data that GPT-5 will have that GPT-4 didn't have is the conversation data it had with the 500 billion people that are using it every day. However, you gotta understand that data is just a subset inferred from the original set of data. So the quality is going to be very low. And so GPT-5 will most likely be trained on the same data, because the humanity did not produce that much valuable information or data in these 6 months. And yes, people say, well, the amount of data doubles. Yes, but it's usually a copy or a derivation of the previous data, because valuable data was produced by...
Still not the fundamentals. It's the ephemera. The data is still the ephemera. The thing that created the data is the thing that's the issue, right? Or not right. I don't know if you think it's right. I think I'm insane. But there's like this pyramid. All we see is the tiniest little tip of this massive beast, hundreds of thousands of years old, of human knowledge and skills and awareness and cultures and all of the massive, just gigantic, unseen. And we just, the source code, that's what's doing it. We just, as long as we digitize all the source code, we'll be able to imply this massive, huge, just tremendously, almost infinitely large, unseen amounts of data that actually is our human experience. Let's keep going.
Humanity getting better at specific problems, right? Not by just duplicating the same text and rewriting it with an LLM. And so it's important to understand what's the semantic value, what is the value of an actual text. And if it's derived from another text, then it has almost zero value. It's just saying the same, but in a different way. And so it will probably have marginal improvements, but they will market it as AGI and it'll probably do some UI.
Well, also when they say, well, according to our definition, which is this word definition problem, which is where we're having all these AGI, AI, this word definition is like they're using these words, but they have made their own definition, which they suppose that you are using as well. Yeah, that's what they just think that they've made the change of definition, but they figure that you are using their same definition as well. And this is where we get lost in the debates about what this means, because everyone's like putting a different meanings on it. And then Sam Bankman-Fried, whatever, Sam Altman, whatever the hell these guys, all these Sams. Altman, he says, oh yeah, AGI means when we spend $200 billion on it, then it means it's AGI. It's like, are you fucking serious, dude? But yes, I am completely serious, and I have the audience with the government and with Trump, and we're going to implement nuclear reactors for all the AGI. These people, I was like, what is going on, man? I can't believe, like, just basic philosophy. Unless it's just, okay, well, it's just another military operation, I guess. They're gonna, okay, let's keep going. Here we go.
Like trying to add voice or trying to make it query itself to make it look very smart. Or you have the standardized programming benchmarks that they come up with, like, hey, O3 is like 95% better than O2.
Oh, like they don't game that.
But that's all made up. That's all in the lab. Those are standardized.
Yeah, all these little stats and it's the benchmark number 84, the hallmark benchmark, the bizzle whizzle tings benchmark. It's like, what do these even mean? Well, it's just it's a percentage coefficient. It's like, shut up.
It's test that AI can easily pass. It has nothing to do with the real world. And what we've seen is that if you look at the data, GPT uses...
It's all the little engineers, like, with their machine language. Well, mine's more stretched to fit. It's like, dude. But is it this AGI? Is it this... if you're talking about, like, hey, I want to go order a pizza and it'll figure out how this stuff happens and make it happen for me, or is it... Go write Facebook. Is it going to do all the back end, all the customer service, and the ad platform, and the pricing models? It's going to do all that stuff too? Whoa, no. It's like,
kind of tank. So this is the data in terms of unique visitors to GPT. As we see, it's kind of stable now. And the average visit duration. Because that's actually what's telling us, are people using it? Do people get value out of it? And we see it's slightly decreasing. And if you use GPT a lot, I use it heavily for code.
There's things it's good for. Like, one of the things I love for is like comparison shopping between, like, because I've been getting into cameras lately, because there's a lot of similarities between cameras and software development, believe it or not. Like, what are you using the camera for? Which camera? Why? Who? For who? Are you blowing it up? Are you doing film? Like, all this other crap. And you can have it completely compare all the different. It knows all the cameras. because it's been in the data for a while, right? And they have they can scrape all the reviews and all stuff. And you can ask anything about any of the features, which ones came when, which the sizes, compare all the things. So super great for that. But is it going to tell me which one I need to use to make my art look better? It's like clueless. Like, what are you talking about, dude? I mean, but it'll give me some bullshit. It's like all the lighting and the blue. It's like, that's not what I'm talking about.
Coding. Roush has been using it for anything that we do at Senior Dev that's not strictly coding. I use it inside Krueger, which is the code editor.
Yeah, and you'll see that it's super useful, but like let's realize what it's for and how it works and what's actually going on. And not like it's a super intense cognition. It's aware of itself. It's like no, it's not.
To a point where you just get tired of the back and forth and you start, looking at the code and trying to improve it yourself. It doesn't mean you're not going to use it as an autocomplete, but it will get to a point where it makes you less productive. And I think people will get smart.
Like if you get overloaded with the prompting, it's like, okay, well.
And slowly you'll see a decrease in the average visit. There'll be like kind of less visits, and people will just get to the point where you're not really using it anymore for important things. And so going back to the Gartner hype cycle, which is how we analyze.
This is also the Dunning-Kruger curve. Oh wow! Look at that. Look at that. It's almost the same curve. Let's keep
new technologies. There's a lot. We are right now in this peak of inflated expectations, whereas there's a lot of overpromising. It happened back in the days with Bitcoin, where people were saying, "What is going to replace
hype
in a
wave?
year?"
We had microservices. What else? We had there's been several of these AI hype waves coming through. Compile C++, object oriented. All the phones, Palm Pilots, the changing sketches into straight lines. There's been all kinds of stuff online. The first .com bubble. It's constant, man.
The normal currency. It didn't. Like the US dollar, it's still the main currency. The euro is still there, and yes, there's a lot. Bitcoin is growing and so on, but it's far away from what they predict it to be. And so after the peak of inflated expectations, you have the true of disillusionment. That's when investors that invested in Devin, AI,
trough, not the true trough, the low point, the ditch. It should be the ditch of disillusionment. All the hopes and dreams of everybody's driving their cars at 90 miles an hour and hit that little curve. We're into the ditch of disillusionment.
Or all those kind of companies that came out will lose money. And finally, people see where this technology actually fits in our productive cycle, and then it gets added to our everyday life. And that's the plateau of productivity. We are right now still at the peak of inflated expectations. And I think the US just announced a $500 billion investment that they will do with OpenAI. So things will still inflate, and then we'll see what actually from there, what's actually useful.
That will just add more gasoline to the fire. Let's see where that takes us. Whenever we had a huge deregulation in place, there was a recession, like the big bubble coming afterwards. We'll see if that's the case now. And finally, the most important question for you, the people watching us, is what can you do as a software engineer to prepare for you?
Let's hear what he says.
There's a bunch of things you can do. Number one, use AI as much as you
can.
Add it to your workflow, play with it. Of course, use your brain in the end. Do not put your...
Use my brain? What do you mean? How can I not use my brain? What are you talking about? How about the word is use these tools, this current set of ML tools for what they're good for, and don't try and offload it like trying to have it like understand what you're trying to do. Just tell it certain tasks that it's good at, and then you figure out what you need to do with it. That's the thing. If that's what he means.
Your fate or your Git commit in fully 100% in the hands of Cursor AI or Devin, if you have access to that, or ChatGPT. Okay? Use it because, again, what you fear, what you don't understand. The more you understand it, the more you play with it, the more comfortable you will be, and the more you will see it for what it is. The second point is think in first principles. Look behind what people say, perception versus reality. And you've seen, right? And you've seen this.
I think it's important to, like, if you get sucked into a hype cycle, that you actually see on the other side of it. Oh, I got sucked in a hype cycle. God damn it. And then realize, oh, what was the thing that was saying? Well, you were trying to shortcut, right? A lot of people that get excited about this is the shortcutting, right? Because you think the AI can just skip out this coding part and think you can be a coder without coding. It's like, yeah, you're gonna have to know how this stuff works. It's still built on these technologies that are built by people who didn't have AI tools to build this stuff. So a lot of it's half-baked. A lot of it doesn't make sense. Kotlin's pretty good, though. Kotlin, they've seemed to have taken their time. It took them 10 years to get things moving in a direction that has this universalist layer idea. Anyway, let's keep going.
Tech CEOs talking so much about innovation and AI and how AI will solve all the problems when, in fact, if you look at the people using the product, you'll see they have an engineering problem. They need more engineering, right? So we need in this world where everybody's saying this and that, and Bogdan and I, we're telling you all these things, but I do invite you to start thinking by yourself and start looking at things in first principles and build your own opinion. Yeah, don't just follow the crowd, because it's a very confused world and it's a very noisy world we live in.
Very. Yeah, it's cranked up. Ever since 2008, when this zero interest rate cycle started, it's very hyped up. Like, whoa, this is one of the hypiest hype cycles I've seen yet.
Third point is, if you feel underpaid, most developers are. You've seen the inflation data. Companies have increased their prices without any justification, and they pocketed most of those money. They have money. Even if they're trying to negotiate you on the phone, do not listen to that, right? If your boss is telling you, hey, we cannot give you a promotion because times are tough, it's not true. They have the money. Okay, so go.
Well, some of them do. Some of them that they were doing this ZERP trick, and there's this Japan carry money trade, or the hell, Japan carry, where they had a free money spigot, and all of a sudden that turned off. Oh, all the money's gone. Yeah, well, those people probably shouldn't have been in business to begin with. And there's a lot of people at work. It's like, I took a boot camp and now I can't get a job. It's like, well, might not have been that might not have been the best path, because you're still trying to skip over truly understanding what these things are. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, like, I have a course called How to Program from the Ground Up with Minimal BS. It's on my GitHub. All I want is a start. It's free, and I don't sell anything else in there. I don't sell anything. And that will clarify some of the things I'm talking about. All right. I appreciate you watching this far, and give me like and subscribe, and go give those guys like and subscribe, and I'll leave the link then to do below, and I'll talk to you soon.